TNN Motorsports presents live exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 for NASCAR's Busch Series Grand National Division. Dover Downs, Delaware offers us a very cloudy, overcast day this Saturday. The temperature rain off in the horizon down to the south. Hi everybody and welcome to the first state. I'm Mike Joy. When we came here in June, the teams and drivers had concerns about the new concrete surface and about the choice of tires for this event. And it seems at least one of those concerns has gone away. Buddy Baker, the tire situation is solved, but the concrete is there. And there was only one groove in June. What about now?
Mike, there is still only one groove. If you get out of the groove here, you're on your way to the wall. It's going to be an action-packed race. One thing you have to watch out for, they're carrying so much speed through the corner, they're right on the ragged edge. Watch for that today.
Also with us, Darrell Waltrip, a five-time winner here. Not recently. Not on the concrete is what I mean. We've only had one race on the concrete, folks. But Darrell, out there in practice, do we have more than one groove? And what's your concern looking at this weekend?
The big thing, Mike, is that, of course, the speeds are great because it's overcast and cool. But the thing about it is the track's still only one groove. And what happens is these tires are fairly soft. And as they shed the rubber off them, it moves up into what we would call the second groove or a passing lane. And it just lays on top of this concrete. If you move outside of somebody to pass them, you pick that rubber up on your tires, you immediately lose traction, and up into the wall you go, as Buddy said. The other problem is even in the groove, as the tires wear a little bit, this track has a kind of a bumpy surface, not rough like you might think about, but chattery, tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. The tires really lose grip, and that gives a driver real false security as he goes through these corners, so it's going to be a wild afternoon.
It's also wild of the point standings. Johnny Benson on top, Chad Little in second, but the battle third through fifth is very, very close. Just 45 points separate Green, McLaughlin, and Keller. Let's go to the front of the starting grid and meet the fifth place point man who's on the pole today. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike. Jason Keller has captured his first pole of 1995. That may not be such a good thing here at Dover. In the 9 races run here prior to today in the fall Busch Grand National Race, nobody has ever won from the pole, but you might feel like this place owes you one. You had one here last fall, a little lap traffic got you. Feel good about today?
Well, I did feel good about it until you told me that stat, but, you know, we're looking forward to today. The Budget Gourmet Chevrolet's running really good today, and, you know, we'll just do our best. This place doesn't actually owe me one because it's been so well to me, you know, been so good to me here in the past, but we'll just take whatever it gives us. Well,
and he almost took it here last fall. He got his first win a couple of months ago back at Indianapolis. He's in a hot battle for third place in the points. One of the other guys battling with him is standing by with Randy.
Well, they've just fired the engines down here on pit road. That guy is Mike McLaughlin. He'll start fourth this afternoon. Ironically, Mike won his first Busch Series career race right here in Dover, June 3rd, 1995. He'd like to repeat that feat here this afternoon. This car that he's running has won 3 races here, 2 with Todd Bodine in 1993 and 1 with McLaughlin in the spring. Now Mike is in the points race, but not for first. He's in the battle for third, and that man that he's battling with is Jeff Green. He starts further back in the field. Larry McReynolds is standing by alongside his car. Larry?
Thanks, Randy. I am standing here by Jeff Green, who is third in the points. He's starting 17th on today's field. What he's got to do, he's got to race to win. He has 2 second-place finishes this year. He wants to get this black number 3 in victory lane, but he's got to look in his rearview mirror at those 2 guys behind him in the points.
Thanks, Larry. This track has been kind to first-time winners. 11 Busch Series drivers have earned their first career victory in this series right here at Dover Downs. They're ready to roll. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. And by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
There's the heavy cloud cover over Dover Downs this afternoon. Threat of rain is still a ways off. We're hopeful of getting 200 miles in today. Your AutoZone race analysis is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts. 41 cars will start today's race, 40 qualified plus 1 provisional. Harry Gant holds the race record set back in 1991. Starting lineup has Jason Keller on the pole, his 4th career pole. He's a 19th different pole winner this year. Ricky Craven alongside Tracy Leslie and Mike McLaughlin, the June winner in row 2. Hermie Sadler, 5th here last year. Rich Bickle in the 3rd row. Johnny Benson Jr., the point leader, defending champion of this race, and Phil Parsons. Jimmy Spencer has 5 straight top 10s here, along with Mike Wallace, then Ward Burton and Stevie Reeves in row 6. Row 7, Rick Wilson and Elton Sawyer, Kevin LePage and Rodney Combs. Row 9, Jeff Green and rookie Jeff Fuller, Larry Pearson and Tim Fedewa. Row 11, Derek Cope and Patty Moise. Row 12, David Green, last year's champ, and Johnny Rumley. Row 13 is Steve Grissom and Bobby Dotter. Row 14, Chad Little and Buckshot Jones. 15th row, rookie Curtis Markham and Randy LaJoy. Tom Peck and Robbie Reiser in row 16, Doug Hevron and Tommy Houston, Andy Belmont and Toby Tobias Jr., Steve Park, who won the Thompson 300 last week, and Kevin Simmons, Brian Donnelly, Dale Fishline from the Dave Marcus team, and Larry Carroll complete the 41-car field. You'll be riding along today with Hermie Sadler, the DeWalt Tools Peebles stores. Number 1. Race cam, roof cam on Hermie Sadler, and out the passenger side window as well.
Mike, you see him going back and forth getting all the rubber off the tires there. Darrell was talking to me just a little while ago. He said he almost wrecked just running around here picking up rubber on the tires. He really had to scrub her.
Yeah, they blew the track off just before this race started. Got that loose rubber off there. That'll help a whole lot on the start here anyway.
Looking out Elton Sawyer's car, looking over at Kevin LePage, Vermont Teddy Bear Chevrolet. And also we'll have Randy LaJoy in the Duralube Chevrolet, number 64, carrying onboard camera from 30th position.
You know, Mike, the rubber may not be any worse here than it is anywhere else, but because the track is white and you can really see it laying on top of the racetrack, we probably have as much rubber on the second groove on an asphalt racetrack, but it's black and you don't see it. Here the track is white and you see that rubber laying up there. That may be why you think it's worse than it really is, possibly.
Looking for green next time by. 24 Chevys, 15 Fords, and 2 Pontiacs. Note that Ford has only 1 victory here at Dover Downs. In Busch Grand National competition, Chevrolet has gone victory lane the last 5 times.
And that's interesting because this always through the years has been considered a Ford racetrack, particularly with the Winston Cup cars. A lot of Fords have won here through the years. So I never quite understand the difference between Busch and Winston Cup, even though there's very little.
I'm sure the Ford drivers in this race don't understand it either.
No, they don't.
All right, ready to go for 200 miles. Johnny Benson with a sizable lead in the point standings. Chad Little needs to make up some ground here today. And that battle for third in the points as the season wanes down, just 65 apart.
Darrell, if you're on the outside here, how fast do you want in that bottom groove going into turn 1?
I tell the guy I got my blinker on and I'm coming over.
Green flag and the MBNA 200 is underway. Jason Keller hauls them off down to turn number 1. And look at everybody dive for the bottom. 2 wide at second place as they come off turn number 2. Look for the back straightaway behind Jason Keller. That's Ricky Craven up on the outside of Tracy Leslie.
See Mike McLaughlin, he's going right to the back because he was on the outside and he can't get in.
Craven drops in line.
Well, Ricky Craven shows a lot of potential there. He was on the outside. He lost a car length or so through the corner, but he had good control. See him 2 wide coming through there.
And here comes Benson underneath Rich Bickle. Johnny Benson is not going to walk to this championship. He is going to run to it as hard as he can.
Well, that's the way to win them. You got a race to win, and that's how you got there, and that's how you're going to stay there.
Jimmy Spencer in the Feenaloo number 20 pulls down on Bickle. Not much room between them there.
That's a couple of Fords there that'll run well today. Both cars.
Look at McLaughlin, 34. Even when it's single file, he can't keep that car on the bottom here in these opening laps.
Well, he could either be too tight or right now he might have just got out of position. It's hard to get back down. You see everybody closing up. Here comes Rick Wilson in the 75 car making it 2 wide through there. He just really don't have any way to get back down in the fast groove.
No, you can't just, you really can't just say, hey, I want in right here, please, and somebody will let you in. You've got to get the thing timed right. Now, this is a perfect opportunity, and there he goes.
But McLaughlin, a lot of laps, a lot of positions, that is, on these opening laps. Battle at third place. Hermie Sadler moves under Tracy Leslie, and here comes Benson.
Yeah, and Hermie had a great qualifying run, and I know he's looking to turn his year around.
There's Phil Parsons in the 99 car also going by Tracy Leslie as they go down into turn 1.
Well, there's 2 things you can do here. When you get out of position, you can make a hole and usually think that doesn't pay off. That usually gets you in trouble. Or you can just wait until it's absolutely the right time to fall back in line.
And the spotters are helping him with that. Here is Ricky Craven. Right up to the bumper of the Budget Gourmet Chevrolet and Jason Keller.
Well, those two cars ran up front here in the spring race, and they were pretty much the class of the field, and neither one of them could have won. So they're right out front again.
I was talking with Ricky Craven yesterday, driving a number 2 car there. You see him closing up, going in the corner. He may have the fastest car, but getting by these guys, they have to make a mistake to really take that groove away from him. I was talking to him about the difference in the 2 cars, the Western Cup and the Busch car. He said it's really tough to drive them both on the same weekend because the let-off points are so different. These cars, you drive them much deeper in the corner than you do a Western Cup.
Yeah, a 9-to-1 engine basically runs like a restrictor engine because it doesn't have the compression, and of course these have 390 carburetors. They run out of steam headed down the end of the straightaway there. So you really can barrel off into a corner much harder than you can in a Western Cup car that just keeps on pulling all the way down the straightaway.
Wilmington driver Larry Carroll getting overlapped here, 7 laps complete. And if Ricky Craven is waiting for Jason Keller to make a mistake, he may have a long wait. If you saw Indianapolis Raceway Park where Keller got his first win, he was flawless in those last 100 laps, holding off the rest of the field.
He's been very impressive, I tell you. It's his own team. He works very hard, and you know, all the experience he had before he started with the Busch Grand National was on go-karts, and I think he's just done an extraordinary job of getting himself in the position he has.
Mike, it looks like Chad Little's really on the move there. The 23 car, the red and yellow car that you see there, is really moving up through the pack. He started far back now and is moving right in on the front bunch there.
Turns out that Bayer Aspirin sponsorship moves over to Terry Labonte's Busch team next year. Up front, here goes Craven into the lead. Big cheer from this partisan northern crowd. Craven from up in Maine, and his sponsor DuPont just up the road in Wilmington, of course.
In the spring here, you know, Ricky complained about burning his feet. It was really hot here in the spring race, and the track was hot and the cars were hot. I don't think he's going to have any problem today. He might burn up the track, but I don't think he's going to burn up his feet.
You could see Ricky Craven wave to him, thank you very much. When they started in the corner there, Jason didn't hold him down on the bottom. He let him go on by and then fell in line. And they have this little hand contact with the driver behind them. They'll wave at him. Sometimes it's not a wave, though.
No, just a signal. This is the first time that Craven has led a Busch race since he ran here a year ago. I think that heating problem was traced to the fact that Craven had only run 1 race up to this point with a 9-to-1 V8 engine, and his team didn't realize how much heat that generated in the cockpit for the driver.
Exactly.
The other Busch teams had adapted after Daytona and Rockingham.
Exactly.
Jason Keller keeping close tabs on Ricky Craven at second. It's a bit of a ways back to Hermie Sadler in third as they round off turn number 4. There are your leaders. Here's that third place battle.
There's Johnny Benson just behind him. As you said, Darrell, he's not coasting to his championship. He's racing for it. He's in 4th place, and really and truly, the safest place on the racetrack to me has always been up near the front.
Yeah, it is, and you know, it puts pressure on everybody else. Actually, people say, well, you know, you got a lot of pressure trying to win this championship. If you run good and lead the race and you got a chance to win, that puts pressure on everybody else, not on you.
Trouble on the leading rookie's car. Jeff Fuller brings his Sunoco Chevy to pit road under green here at lap 13. As Benson makes the move underneath Hermie Sadler, he's got 3rd place. Randy Pemberton's in Jeff Fuller's pit. Randy?
Well, he comes down pit road, 3,500 RPMs. He brings the Sunoco car to a stop. He had to drive it a lap or 2. He felt he had a flat tire, but as you well know, they have difficulty figuring out exactly which one it is, even though it might be a little more easier here at Dover. It's a right side. They figure a right rear. Fuller is down and away. Tough break for Fuller, who finished 28th here in the spring.
14.9 second stop for Jeff Fuller. He gets back on the speedway. Ricky Craven, Krytox DuPont number 2 is the leader. 6th place, Rich Bickle. In the Kleenex car, Jimmy Spencer come calling right there.
Little contact coming out of the corner there. Bickle did a great job of controlling that car.
Well, like I said, those two guys are running really close together. I tell you, Bickle is he's a tough racer, but they don't come much tougher than getting at 20 either. I wouldn't be cutting down in front of him too many times.
Well, you see Jimmy's car is right on the bottom there.
Yeah.
Seems to be a little quicker, but Bickle's got the line up there, and he's going to have to use a little patience. I think Jimmy Spencer has a fast car, but he can't just stick it in there and hope it can see.
Well, Bickle's hoping he can get away from Jimmy, but you ain't going to get away from him. I tell you, you're going to have to. I think I'd let him go right now if it's me. A little early to be racing that hard.
Ward Burton getting right into it. The 95, the Caterpillar car. Up front, Jason Keller says to his crew he's got a little bit of push in the car. So Ricky Craven has gone by into the lead. Kevin LePage brings the Vermont Teddy Bear car to pit road. Welcome back to Dover Downs. Here are the leaders: Ricky Craven, the DuPont number 2, and Jason Keller, the Budget Gourmet 57. Keller started on the pole, Craven alongside. Let's move back to about 5th place.
This is what we want to watch right here, because I tell you, Jimmy Spencer, already gave Rich Bickle a little boot there in the rear coming off of 4. Bickle picked up the pace a little. Now he's putting pressure on Phil Parsons, and Hermie Sadler sitting up there watching all this. So these guys are putting on a heck of a show right now.
This is 4th place on back, beginning with Hermie Sadler.
You can see the last car just coming in the frame there. That's Ward Burton. The last time he was in this car, he got upside down in Talladega in it, but it's a very good race car, and Ward gets around this racetrack extremely well.
Well, I got to tell you, that's 5 race car drivers right there, buddy, that you've got to give quarter to, because they take no quarter and they give no quarter.
Right.
They race hard. All of those boys do.
They're all stuck pretty well to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, all the cars are running about the same, and it's just who gets through the traffic, who gets back in the gas a little quicker than the other guy every lap.
All right, what are these 5? Are these 5 guys riding or racing right now?
Well, they want to move up. Jimmy Spencer is never riding.
Right.
And he's behind all of them. And, of course, Rich Bickle's had a good car. He ran great at Charlotte, and Fred Wanke's the crew chief on that car, buddy, in case you didn't know it. And
thank you very much, Darrell.
That's Wanky.
Wanky,
yes, it is.
that's right.
He just happens to be your truck.
Yeah, he built me a truck, and it's a pretty darn good one, and I think he's a pretty sharp guy.
Mike, I just noticed something on the front of Ward Burton's car there. These hot dog wrappers are beginning to be a little bit of a problem. It's a very windy day here today. In the very front of Ward Burton's car, the air intake on the car is just about blocked.
We saw that on Jeff Fuller's car during the pit stop, too.
They were really working hard to get that off there.
Right. Let's update that story with Randy.
Yeah, that's all I was going to add. You guys hit it right on the head. I noticed that as well when Fuller pulled in, and it was amazing just after a few laps, all of that rubber that was built up on the car. So you guys already hit it. You're dead on.
With the rubber and the wrappers.
Yeah, rubber wrappers.
Here comes Spencer. Oh, sorry, wrong battle. A couple of cars running just ahead of this race for 4th place. There's Spencer way on the bottom. Bickle comes down from the blue car, covers the spot. And let's check with Larry.
I'm standing here in the garage here between the Kevin LePage car and the Derek Cope car. They have problems on different ends of the race car. Kevin LePage looks like he has a terminal engine problem, maybe a piston or possibly a connecting rod. Derek Cope started complaining about his car really kicking out going through the corner, and I think they've discovered that the ratchet in the rear end is broke. There's one place you cannot live with a ratchet broke, and that's here at Dover, Delaware.
Oh, trouble, turn 4.
Yeah.
Jimmy Spencer drilled the 54 of Rich Bickle, and Bickle went right to the fence. Rick Wilson comes sliding by. It's heavy damage on Rich Bickle's Kleenex Shoppers number 54.
Man,
I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say.
Wait till the replay.
Yeah.
That was a shame. Here's Bickle climbing out. He's okay.
I got a good idea. He's got something to say. And he thinks he'll get right up on top of his wall and say it.
well, the good part is you can see he's okay, but he's not real happy, I'd say.
And it's not like he tugged on Superman's cape or anything. He was running in a good solid 6th place there, holding his own.
No.
Rick Wilson spun to miss that melee. And there's Bickle. Here's what happened.
Darrell, walk us through this. We have a little excitement down on the start-finishing line that's beginning to take place. You see Spencer right here.
He just gets into the back of the 54 car at a place where it's just almost impossible. Rich did a great job earlier of saving that car when the same thing happened, and that is uncalled for.
Well, let me
I
ask
hate
you
it,
this.
but it's uncalled for.
You see the 2 cars first get together, and we don't know if Jimmy got into Rich or if Rich checked up because his car was climbing the groove. But after the first contact, could the second contact have been avoided?
Well,
look at it here.
It should have never happened in the first place. I mean, he's got him a little bit loose right here. Get off of him and give him a break, but he just keeps on pushing.
Buddy?
Well, I was going to add to that, but I can't really say anything that Darrell didn't actually cover there. He made the first contact, and Normally you do back off just a little bit and let them try to recover their car, and they made second contact, and that pretty much set them going there.
Well, I like Jimmy Spencer. He's an exciting driver to watch, but for NASCAR has just judged that he's been a little too aggressive in this incident, and Spencer has been black flagged. That's Rick Wilson.
Well, you know, let me just say this. If you get in trouble every now and then, every once in a while, you can excuse that. But when it's like speeding. First time you get pulled over, you might get a warning. Next time you get pulled over, you're going to get a ticket. Third time, you're going to go to jail.
Well, Spencer's going to jail for 5 laps. That's the report right now. We'll take a break from Dover Downs. We're under the first caution of the day for a crash at turn number 4. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Welcome back to Dover. First caution of the day. Now there you see the discussion going on amongst the officials along pit road. It's coincidence that Spencer and Bickle are pitted adjacent to one another, and tempers flared on pit road after the incident out on the racetrack. Larry McReynolds is with Rich Bickle.
Rich, a solid 6th place run there for the Kleenex car. What seemed to transpire out there?
Well, it's kind of unfortunate, you know. This goes back, I think, to Bristol in the Cup race. You know, he got into me before, about 10 laps before that. You know, I mean, we pulled away there, and we got to lap traffic again, and all of a sudden it just, what can you say? All you do is watch it on television. It shows you what it is. Shoppers Food Warehouse cars, Kids Cross America car was fine. We just did a little bit tight, made adjustment. We'd have been all right, but unfortunately, we get to sit behind the wall the rest of the day, and I'm very, because I really thought we had a shot at winning this race, and I'm really upset about that. But I guess Charlotte's next. We set a pole there, and we'll come back there with a new car and do it again.
Y'all really started turning the curve with that Kleenex car, really starting to run up front pretty much on a weekly basis.
Well, it's, you know, we're a limited deal here with a Busch deal. We come in and come out. We've qualified like 5 times out of 8 races in the top 10, run good, and you know, we got the 40 car, the Kennel car, and the Cup deal running pretty decent too, and pretty happy with that. So, you know, I just got to look up at things, and I'm just smiling. I'm glad I didn't get hurt. My chest hurts a little bit, and I hit my kneecap pretty hard, but we'll be back tomorrow and then the next week.
Guys, I think Rich Bickle's showing a lot of class, and I believe you're going to see him in victory lane before too long goes by.
This fellow's a talented driver. 5th at Daytona, 8th at Charlotte, 10th at Milwaukee, and out of the race today. Jimmy Spencer has obeyed the black flag and will sit on pit road for 5 laps. We'll be right back to Dover Downs. Welcome back to Dover Downs, just ending the first caution period of the day. R.J. Reynolds, Image South, and Clavel conversion vans will take you on the Big Red Boat from Cape Canaveral to the Bahamas, December 4 to 7, to benefit the Winston Cup Drivers Wives Auxiliary. Kyle Petty, Ernie Irvin, Todd Bodine, Ted Musgrave, Steve Grissom are among the folks that will participate. And if you'd like to, call the number on the screen. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, you remember at the top of the show when Randy told us about the success the 34 car has had here. This man, Clyde McLeod, is the crew chief on that car. A little bit of nose damage from that incident up there. Is it going to affect you, Clyde?
Yeah, probably so. It'll probably make it a lot tighter than it is. And I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens here on this start. It gets tighter. We'll have to work on it when he comes back in. But the old French's Mustard Chevrolet was just kind of searching for a spot to ride for a while, and we got caught up in somebody else's mess. And what can you do?
Well, obviously, Mike did all he could do. He avoided it. He had not said anything to the crew about the way the car was working. He had fallen back in the field a little bit, but they're going to have to wait and see now, guys.
There's the damage to Mike McLaughlin's car as a result of that incident. We're going green this time. Quick to Randy.
Several cars pitted under that caution flag. None of the leaders, back markers, the 55 car, Tim Fedewa, then Bobby Dodder, Tracy Leslie, all took on right side tires. Chad Little, who was deep in the pack, took on 4.5 around a wedge. Many cars complaining, or drivers complaining, their cars are pushing. As we get ready to go green, tires look pretty good.
And Jimmy Spencer drove his car straight to the garage and parked it. Green flag at lap 38. Ricky Craven out front with the lead. He takes off because Jason Keller's pinned behind the 2 laps down car of Jeff Fuller.
Yeah, Fuller had to stop there under green and get a tire, and he's a couple of laps down.
Now the lead lap car is moving up through. Patty Moise working up well. Is she the 4th place car, or I'm sorry, she's a
I
lap
think
down.
she's a lap
She's
down.
also a lap down.
But you know, I got to say, Patty has been doing a lot better. She's been doing a great job this year. She's had a top 10 finish or two, and that car's been running a lot better for her. And I think it shows what talent she has when she can get out there and run every week, and it really makes a difference in how she performs.
She's looking for a deal for next year. It's reported Tim Fedor will drive for that team.
Well, Jason Keller's falling back, and you see Johnny Benson there moving in third place, trying to get into second place. Johnny Benson might be the fastest car out there, but he's biding his time. He's not doing anything foolish. As you said a while ago, Darrell, it's very early in this race to do something stupid.
It is. You just got to kind of, there's point in here where you just got to kind of take it easy and let the race come to you, and let's see what's going to happen.
Let's go to the pole sitters pit. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, Jason's got a real bad push in the car. They've got a half rubber in the right front. They wanted to come in and take it out that time under caution, but nobody else came in, so they didn't want to give up the track position. They figured, well, we're running decent enough now to stay in the top 3 or 4, but he's definitely got a push position. First chance they get, they're going to make that adjustment, take that rubber out.
They better leave it alone, Glenn. He's catching the number 2 car of Craven pretty fast here. You see him go in the corner. The car is really coming around right now. It might be the edge that he needs later on as the track gets a little looser.
The big gap now is back to 5th place. This battle, Hermie Sadler, Phil Parsons, Ward Burton. That's what's left of the 5 cars that were battling for 4th spot. Now that both Spencer has driven to the garage area and Rich Bickle's car has been towed there.
Yeah, that rubber in the right front, that's an option the driver has. What that does, it makes that spring a lot tougher. If that's an 1,800-pound spring, for instance, and you put that rubber in there, that could make that spring rate somewhere around 2,000 pounds. And you need that, it seems like, when you're practicing, but once you get in the race and the track conditions change a little bit, sometimes the driver will take that out, and it'll make the car perform better. And sometimes he says, I wish I'd left it alone.
Phil Parsons, Hermie Sadler, and the 95, that is Ward Burton in the Caterpillar car.
See Phil taking a look on the inside there. Not quite. He's going to wait a little bit. He's got a very good race car, and he's also kind of biding his time. He's going to go on his own next year, I understand. He's leaving the race team. He's had great success this year, but Phil Parsons said he was going to do his own deal next year.
Well, you know, he won Charlotte, a year ago in his own car. And, you know, some guys are just cut out to be on their own, have their own deal, and kind of call their own shots. And I guess Phil feels like he's one of those kind of guys.
Well, you guys have both been there, done that.
Yeah.
Run your own race team.
It's got its pluses and it's got its minuses. You know, driving for somebody is pretty easy. You just take your helmet and your gloves and hop in there and go race. But you bite off a lot when you want to be owner and driver.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett, who has Jimmy Spencer.
Well, as you said, Jimmy had climbed out of the car. Jimmy, we've heard from Rich Bickle. Let's hear your side of it. What happened?
I don't know, something happened to Rich's car or whatever, you know. I got up underneath him a couple different times, and then right there, it looks like he just got a little loose. I bumped him a little bit, but it wasn't my fault. It was a deal where he had gotten loose and I think lifted. I considered it racing. NASCAR considered it a 5-lap penalty. When NASCAR said that, I considered parking the car. I'm not racing for the points. And, you know, it's just wear and tear on the tires, motors, and cars for nothing. And I figured, heck with it.
Well, that's what he said. He's going to get ready for Winston Cup practice.
There did appear to be a hesitation in Bickle's car on the initial contact, but perhaps the accident could have been avoided. Only those two guys know for sure.
Exactly.
Hermie Sadler sits at 4th place. You're watching from the back of the DeWalt Tools Chevrolet at Phil Parsons, the Luxair Chevy. Right behind him, Ward Burton, the Caterpillar Chevy. And Mike Wallace is the first Ford in the field. That's the Heilig Myers car, that teal-colored machine right behind Burton.
And I tell you something, Mike, when we will know, when the incident won't look so bad, that same thing could happen again to somebody else in that same position. And if the driver in front, if he does happen to lift just ever so slightly and you're wide open, you're into the back of that guy, and it looks a lot worse from the intent standpoint of view than it really was. So there is a defense to everybody's situation.
See Jeff Green in the 3 car there working over some lap traffic. He's trying to get up into a good position also. He's 3rd place in the points right now, and every position he makes will make a big difference towards that championship near the end of the year. I think everybody's pretty much convinced that if Benson keeps on in the rate he's going, that he'll win the championship. It's a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are very close.
Right. Riding with Randy LaJoy. Back at 21st spot, Bobby Donner just ahead. Donner among the drivers looking for next year. He's looking for a co-sponsor to go with Hyde Tools to keep that team and that deal together.
If you'll look at Johnny Benson, there's about 25 or 30 car lengths to the lead. There's about 25 or 30 car lengths behind him to the guys that are running 4th, 5th, and on back. he's sitting in what I like to call the cushion. He's just sitting there where he's in good shape. Nobody's coming up from back, and he's not in any trouble wrecking. He's riding in a championship groove right now.
You know where that is.
Yep, been there, done that.
Here's your field standing update brought to you by Napa. We keep America running. Well, here's how they're running. Tracy Leslie, Rodney Combs get a little close there. Back straight away.
As I make that observation, I do believe Hermie Sadler and that little crowd behind Benson is closing up on him some, though he may have some sort of problem because they're closing at a higher rate.
Mike, if you notice the lap over cars here, instead of going to the bottom of the racetrack to let the lap over cars go by, I mean, they move to the outside because it is so treacherous here. If you're running wide open and a guy pulls down on the bottom, you try to pass him on the outside, you can wreck. So the slower cars are really working with these guys running up front today. You see them running up out wide there, giving them plenty of room to go by on the bottom here.
It's the 9 of Kevin Simmons up in the top groove, Rodney Combs. Snapper 43 and Buckshot Jones working the low side.
Well, by virtue of doing that also, it does help create a second lane. You get the lap cars moving up, and it will put some rubber down and keep that loose rubber blown off, and that can create a second lane. So,
whoa, Buckshot. the double zero Buckshot got right in the back of Rodney Combs there and nearly turned him around coming out of turn 2.
Now, how did Rodney, in the process of trying to straighten the car out, have time to get his fist out the window?
Oh, that's easy. I used to be able to stick mine out the right window. You can ask Darrell about that.
Yeah. Well, how you do that, Rodney's run a lot of dirt. And when you run a lot of dirt, you can drive one-handed and just keep that other in air all the time. But Baker always told me when the guy sticks his hand out the window like that, that's when you hit him again.
Oh.
He won't stick that hand out no more.
And Rodney gets back down in the low groove after Bobby Dotter and the Hyde Tools 08 and Randy LaJoy go by. Let's go back up front. Have a look at the leaders, Ricky Craven and the pole sitter Jason Keller, looking much like last year's race. Let's go to pit road and Larry.
Mike, I talked to Rick Maxson, crew chief for Ricky Craven. He said the car is good. They plan no adjustments on this car next pit stop. Now the issue is these cars can go about 125 to 130 laps on fuel, but there's a question if the tires will go that far. Some teams said that they feel like 60 to 70 laps on these tires is somewhat stretching it. So with lap 56 just clicking up on the board, I'd say the guys that didn't pit on that last caution, within the next 15, 20 laps, are probably going to see some action on pit road.
Thanks, Larry. To update that third-place point battle, you see Jason Keller there running in second. Mike McLaughlin is presently 8th, and Jeff Green is his shadow, running in 9th place. 56 laps complete. We'll be right back to Dover Downs after this.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley has been helping people do things right.
Couple Darrell Waltrip fans there, I think. Yes, yes. Welcome back to Dover Downs. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Darrell Waltrip. 62 of 200 laps complete. In the Busch race today, not much has changed up at the front. Ricky Craven and Jason Keller continue to run 5 or 6 car lengths apart, with Johnny Benson in 3rd, Hermie Sadler 4th, and Phil Parsons 5th. But Chad Little is the man who's steaming his way up through the pack, 2nd in the points with a lot of ground to gain on Benson to have hopes at this championship. And his race strategy is a little different than everybody else's. Glenn Jarrett can fill us in on why so far.
Well, that's exactly right, Mike. On that first caution flag, Chad came in. He was reporting a loose race car. Everybody else was tight. Chad's was loose. He came in, they put 4 tires on it and put about a round of bite in the car. Crew Chief Gary Cogswell tells me now the car is working really well. And as you say, Chad is on an onward march to the front of the field. Now, caution or pit stops are coming up real soon. If we don't get another caution, it'll be green flag stops. Boy, that could put Chad in a real good position, at least for a short while, because he won't have to stop for at least the next 30, 35 laps.
Chad pitted at lap 31. He started the season like a firecracker, winning at Daytona and leading 13 of the first 17 races. But in the last 6 Busch Series events, he's only led once.
You know what they say, teams win championships, drivers win races. And right now, I think you're seeing the most productive people up front in the point. Chad Little's run an extremely great race all year long. I mean, every race he's been in contention, but he has had a lot of DNFs too.
Yeah, some of those early races, I remember that one at Rockingham. I mean, he was just totally awesome at Rockingham, and there were others. And He ran great at Nashville. I thought he would self-destruct on some of the short tracks, but they've had some good runs, but they have had some problems lately.
Look at that pack from 4th on back, and right smack in the middle of it is the 3rd and 4th place point battle. Right behind that teal and black car of Mike Wallace, Mike McLaughlin, and Jeff Green. Green in that black Goodwrench Chevrolet started 17th today. He's moved up to 9th place.
You know, McLaughlin doesn't look like he's having any problem with that damage on the front of the car. He's running pretty well right now, and he's challenging Mike Wallace, so it looks like the car's working okay.
We're looking ahead at those 2 cars from Elton Sawyer's Ford Credit Ford.
Well, that is exactly what it looks like. Anybody out there watching this race, if you want to know what a driver sees, that camera really looks like you're driving that race car. That's exactly what the driver's looking at as you start in the corner.
The only thing you need to do is put a quarter in your vibrating bed, and then that's how it'll feel too.
And a lot of side bite.
That's right. Maybe a water bed, a quarter in a water bed.
Go back and get a roll of quarters. 68 laps complete.
Well, we're getting a little tight race here again with the Hermie and Phil Parsons and Ward Burton and that whole crowd.
That's 4th place on back.
You see what a great crowd they have here today. It's not just Winston Cup that draws big crowds anymore. This Busch Grand National has a tremendous following also.
90,000 expected tomorrow as they lap past Curtis Markham. The Lysol Pontiac. Lysol will be back for that team next year, we're told.
Well, I don't like to date myself, but those old wooden grandstand that used to just kind of sit around here and there, and you hoped you filled them up, are a thing of the past. These mile and under racetracks look like football stadiums now with the stands all the way around and the big suites. It's amazing what Winston Cup racing is going through right now.
And series like this, the Truck Series, are the beneficiary as well.
Oh,
they get
yeah.
to run on Saturday.
Yeah, they're just coattailing right along, and everybody's gaining from it.
Daryl, this is the part of the race when all these guys look like they're just driving along here, but they're analyzing what they need to do to these cars on the pit stop to make them better. When they do stop, these guys will be ready to make adjustments on the cars and make them even better than they are now.
Well, right now is when you're riding along saying, boy, you know, pit stops are going to be coming up here before long. I wouldn't mind seeing a little old caution flag, but then you stop it. But I don't want it to be me.
No.
So you're kind of sitting there wondering what's going to happen as far as cautions and whether you're going to have to put under green or not. It's kind of nail-biting time. It's getting right at that point where you're going to have to stop.
One other thing that's happened is there is a huge disparity in speed between these and some of the lapped cars. Now, NASCAR keeps an eye on that. They won't let a car continue to run if he's too slow. But there have been a couple of hair-raising moves.
Oh, yeah.
Diving under lapped cars in traffic here.
You go into the corner here so fast that if the guy you're going under, if he happens to make the wrong move, even if you just kind of react to what he does, it can cause your car to go out of control.
Okay, pit stops are coming up here, so let's try to squeeze a break at you before they do. Ricky Craven and Jason Keller setting the pace here at Dover Downs. 73 laps completed. We'll be right back. You remember that caution we were hoping for? Well, Toby Tobias Jr. spun up in turn number 2.
And it's the kind you want. He spun. He didn't hit anything. Nobody suffered any damage.
Right.
And now we get the pit under caution.
That damage to the front valence was caused when he slid down the banking onto the flat. That's a very sharp transition when you come down at that angle.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained that. It looks like a long curb finder.
Here it is.
Looks like he may have been assisted.
Oh, yes.
Well, I just think.
Oh, Rodney Combs got a little too close with the trimmer there and almost paid the price.
Tommy Houston just got by on the outside there in the 6th car. He almost collected him.
I saw that paint on the back of Tobias's bumper. Didn't know why.
There you go. This is another angle. You see him get into the back just a little bit. Rodney goes back by. Watch the 6th car here as Tobias starts up.
Ooh.
Another coat of paint, and we'd have had 2 cars spinning.
All right, on pit road, on the top of your screen, there is Ricky Craven. Let's go to Randy.
Well, Phil Parsons is in. 2 straight top 10s at this racetrack for Phil. Running 5th, going to go for 4 tires. Right sides are on, or are they going to go for 4 tires? Good question here. I thought they'd be coming around, but as of right now, it's a 2-tire stop. Here they come. David Iff gets ready to work on the left side. A roundup wedge out for Parsons. The car was tight. Let's go up pit road to Glenn Jarrett as one guy falls on the 99 car.
Well, guys, I'm standing between Jason Keller. Jason came in with a 4-tire stop. They did make a slight chassis adjustment, and Mike McLaughlin has come in. They put some tape on the hood of the car, but it's already blown away. It's just not going to do any good. So,
Glenn, there's a fire in the pit of Doug Heveron, the Cincinnati Millicron, number 35. A gas spill, a fire quickly. Personnel were on the scene and the extinguishers were hit just as the flames began to blaze. It appeared, I'm not sure because it's the side of the car opposite us, but it appeared that something happened while they were refueling the car and a fuel spill up there at the top of your screen in the Doug Heveron pit.
Yeah. Mike, that's one of the biggest fears in racing right there is a flame in the pits like that, because you know, the guys in the cars, they have all kind of protection. The guys standing out there, just the uniforms is the only thing they have for protection.
That gentleman that's on the ground right there, he was on, he had some fire on him, so I think he's the only one I saw that looked like was in any jeopardy, but he had some fire on him.
We'll try to get an update from there. Right now, let's go back down to pit road and get an update on some of those pit stops. Let's go to Larry.
Okay, I was standing between the Ricky Craven pit and the Hermie Sadler pit. Both of them pretty much had routine 4-tire stops. Didn't look like no chassis adjustments on either car. I believe both drivers was pretty happy. Changed 4 tires. Craven had a little bit of trouble changing the left front, but as you can see on this tight pit road, they paid a little bit of a price in track position for being back down the middle ways of pit road versus those guys at the end.
Thanks, Larry. Apparently the fire at Doug Heveron's car, the fuel can itself, the 11-gallon dump can that pours the fuel into the fuel cell there. You see the receptacle on the right side of your screen at the end of Ricky Craven's car. But the fuel can itself caught fire, so the fueler took the can, tossed it over the wall and off onto the dirt banking behind the pits, and that was the majority of the fire. Again, we'll try to get you an update from that scene. There is the can, and there is the dry brake receptacle at the top that is designed to prevent spillage.
And as you can see, that's the gas man holding that can. He's got a helmet, just like the driver does. He's got all the same safety equipment that the driver has. He's got gloves. We went to that outfit there about 10 years ago to protect the gas man because we have had a few fires. It's far and few between it, but the rotor on the left rear of the car probably was hot, and a little fuel got down on it, and that's what ignited it.
So rescue workers still at the scene of the incident up at the Doug Heveron pit.
That's the gentleman I saw that looked like he was in the most jeopardy. He was rolling on the ground. Wise, a very smart thing to do.
All right, let's go back down to the other end of pit road and look at the point leader's pit stop. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Johnny Benson had a great pit stop. His guys got him in and out. They put 4 tires on and took a round of wedge out. I believe he got out first. As I said, Jason Keller did make a chassis adjustment. They did remove that rubber from the right front of the car. Mike McLaughlin came in for repair work to his grill, but the guy that, and I think Mike's going to have to come back in, they did not finish that. He was running a little bit of water temperature because of that nose damage to the car. The guy that may be in the biggest trouble now, who looked to be in a good shape a while ago, is Chad Little. He came in, they put 4 more tires on. The tire rule today was 3 tires per position under caution. That means they had 3 full sets of tires all the way around they could change under caution. He has already used 2 of those. We're only on lap 83. We're not halfway yet, and he's already used 2/3 of his tires. They're talking with NASCAR now to see if they can get another set of tires mounted. I don't much believe they're going to let them do it. They will not be fresh tires anyway. Regardless, they can't change them more than 1 more set under caution. So a position that we may have to keep an eye on because Chad could be in trouble here a little bit later on, guys.
Well, it was a win or break decision when they came in for tires at lap 31. They had a problem that if they'd had this extended green run would probably have put him a lap down. So he had to get the tires then. Now they put on a second set. If this last run of green had gone all the way to pit stops, Chad Little would have been in good shape.
Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it's a gamble either way. It almost paid off.
We have 83 laps complete. We're sneaking up on halfway here at Dover Downs, Delaware. Here's how they're running at lap 82. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
84 laps complete under caution. Randy Pemberton's made his way up to Doug Heveron's pit where that fire erupted while they were fueling Doug's car. Randy?
Well, guys, 2 gentlemen down on this pit crew. It's a very, very unfortunate incident. They're getting ready to load the second gentleman into the ambulance. We did get the name on the first guy, but we'll withhold that right now. I will tell you that both of these guys, they're very upset and they are burnt, but they're okay. They're going to be all right. We're going to withhold that for the time being. They've loaded one gentleman in the ambulance. I saw him as they loaded him in. He was conscious, smiling, but he's hurt. They're burned a little bit, but they're going to load him in. I think they're going to be okay, and we'll try and get you a further report as this day progresses.
Thanks, Randy. As we've said, that's probably the biggest fear of anybody in racing.
Yeah.
Is a fire erupts, you know, gasoline very volatile.
It happens so, it never happens. And so when it does, it takes us all by such surprise. To see a car catch on fire on the racetrack or something, we're so cautious and so careful with gasoline and fire prevention that when it happens, it just takes us all by a big surprise.
Because it happens so rarely compared to years ago.
Rarely,
that it's such a very rare occurrence.
Well, we have a bladder tank in there now, this rubber, and it really takes a bunch. I mean, like there, it was probably, like Darrell said, a hot break, or either the car backfired a little bit and had splash over from the fuel and ignited, but you just don't see that very often.
We'll get you further update as we have it. 85 laps go up on the board. Today's AutoZone Tech Fact is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
The NASCAR Winston Cup rulebook states that the wheelbase on a Winston Cup stock car has to be 110 inches. Now, I bet you're wondering what wheelbase is. It's the distance from the center of the front wheel to the center of the rear wheel. Now, even though NASCAR says that our wheelbase has to be 110 inches, NASCAR allows us plus or minus a half inch on the other side. Now, most teams have their wheelbase on the right side at a fixed 110 inches. So we'll use the left side wheelbase as an adjustment for handling characteristics. At short tracks where the corners are tight and we're really fighting the car turning, we'll take an eccentric and move the left front wheel forward to make the wheelbase long on the left side. At super speedways where the corners are long and sweeping, we want to make the wheelbase long on the right. So we'll take the eccentric and move the left front wheel back. This really helps the car enter the corner. Now, even though this is a good tuning tool to adjust the handling of the race car, it takes a little time to do. So teams will really only do this adjustment during practice and not really during the race.
Thanks, Larry. We're still working this caution period as the ambulances make their routes in and out of the Dover Down Speedway here. Let's go back to Randy Pemberton.
Well, to add to this team's problems down there, the Cincinnati Millicron team, they still need to run this race, and they still need to pit for fuel. So they're constantly right now searching for a guy that can gas this car. The team is standing poised on pit wall, as poised as they can be under these circumstances, and they want to pit this car and put some fuel in it so Doug Hebron can go on. So the two guys, unfortunately, that were down, as I said, they're probably going to be all right, but they're going to be hurting for a little while. But this team has to go on, and they're going to try and pit this car here momentarily.
And a shame for Hebron, who led 57 laps here in June, and engine problems took him away from what would have been his first Busch Series victory. The race team has asked us to withhold the names of the gentlemen who were injured so that the team can personally notify relatives before we put that out to you. Otherwise, we would pass that along, but we want to respect their wishes. And we'll be back to Dover Downs, Delaware, as this second caution period continues right after this word. Stay with us for live Busch racing on TNN. TNN Highway Transportation provided by Cedar Ridge RV Center, Branchville, New Jersey. They feature Winnebago motorhomes. Call Joe and the folks at 1-800-988-4884. He can show you how easy those are to drive, buy, and come to the races on your own. Winnebago, Cedar Ridge. Well, Darrell, you were talking about this being a one-groove racetrack and how the little rubber marbles just lie there. Look at this.
There they are. And of course, we're only halfway through this race, and you can see down where the track is dark, that's where the cars are running. But just above that's where all the rubber off these tires are coming from, and these tires are shedding rubber pretty quickly here today.
Darrell, we're getting some reports of cars running hot. Look at the hot dog wrappers and paper on the top part there. That's blowing in front of these cars and creating a bit of a problem, I think.
Yeah, it's windy here today, a lot of debris blowing around, but that rubber will stick to the front of a race car.
Let's go to Larry with today's Innovation in Motion, brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. Larry?
Okay, Darrell, you was talking about how convenient cautions can be sometimes. Probably not for the leader, but in the case of this last caution, it was convenient for the leader. This is Ricky Craven's left rear tire. Puncture, flat tire. He had complained about the car being loose. There's the reason right there. Okay, now something I want to tell you about. Sometimes when cars have a flat tire and they come in the pits, you can't get the jack under it because the car's too low to the ground because of the flat tire. Now, what some teams have done, they've innovated them a little mechanism. You can run it under the car when the car's low to the ground, pick it up, jack man shoves the jack under, away you go, you change your 2 tires.
Leverage.
Leverage.
Works. Physics works.
You know, the point about the flat left rear tire, that's how tough radial tires are. You can only tell, you can't really tell you got a flat tire. You can just tell there's something wrong with your race car, and that gets you in trouble a lot of times.
Anybody wants to know who's a lap down right now, on the right-hand side in Busch Grand National, that's the cars that are a lap down. So you can just look right there and then tell who's a lap down at the present moment.
And there's not that many cars a lap down, buddy, but that's when this really gets treacherous, is when you get those double line restarts and those guys on the outside trying to get a lap back or trying to get back in line. That's when we really have problems.
Phil Parsons coming back onto pit road, gives up track position. Randy's there.
Well, they're going for the old gas and make it. They pitted 1 lap ago for fuel. They're going to jack the left side up, get every ounce of fuel in they can. What they want to be able to do here is go, as Phil stalls the car on pit road, they want to be able to go the distance on fuel. That's not to say that they will not pit under caution, but what it might do is give an opportunity to gamble a little, possibly take on right side tires, maybe win this race. But they've got all the fuel they need to make it to the finish. We'll have to see if before we go back green, anyone else comes down pit road. But I would say a fair gamble by Parsons.
Oh, I'd say it's a great strategy. You know, if you don't mind giving up track position, that could win you a race.
Well, Darrell, you raced with David Ift, and I'm sure he learned a lot from you, and he's also a very smart crew chief. So I think, you know, he was running back in the pack. He took a gamble now, and it may pay off that he ends up in first.
Exactly.
So we continue under caution here and invite you to tune in to TNN Motorsports Saturday, October 7th. We'll be out at Sears Point Raceway, the road course in Sonoma, California, for the Subway Sandwich Shops 200. Super Truck Series by Craftsman comes to you live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on TNN Motorsports. Don't miss that one. That was rained out from earlier this season.
Yeah, it was flooded out. I mean, that's when they had all that rain out there, and I think part of the racetrack washed away, and it was one of the opening events earlier this year.
The reason for the length of the caution with the 2 ambulances leaving the facility, they want to get reordered so we have a full safety complement. The gate is still open here at start-finish, as there is no drive-out tunnel here at Dover Downs, but that's okay. They'll get things reordered. There's 1 ambulance ready on standby, and we'll take a quick break from Dover Downs and come back hopefully with the restart. 92 laps complete. Johnny Benson's on the top of the leaderboard.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Welcome back to Dover Downs. 94 laps complete. The light is out on the Pontiac safety car. Restart this time by, as you watch from Elton Sawyer's car. Johnny Benson's the race leader. There's Sawyer sitting in 2nd spot. 3rd is Ricky Craven. 4th is Jason Keller. 5th, Hermie Sadler. Riding 6th is Mike Wallace. 7th, Chad Little. 8th is Jeff Green. 9th is Ward Burton. 10th is Buckshot Jones. Good run for him today. 11th, Randy LaJoy. 12th for Larry Pearson. Watching from Hermie Sadler here. 13th, David Green. In 14th, Tracy Leslie. 15th is Rodney Combs. 16th, Johnny Rumley. 17th, Steve Grissom. Running in 18th is Tom Peck. 19th, Robbie Reiser. And 20th, Bobby Doddard. Getting set for the restart. And we're back under green at lap 95.
See Johnny Benson going down underneath the lap car of Jeff Fuller there as they start into the corner.
1 car way high up by the wall. Brian Donnelly, he's going to save it. Excuse me, that's 36 Andy Belmont.
He had to tread lightly there.
Oh, yeah, it's a good thing he was just getting up to speed, because that's the only thing that saved him.
He was up in the Harry Gant groove, and he would have ended up at Harry's souvenir trailer.
Ooh, yes.
He'll be okay.
I got to give a call to my buddy Hermie Sadler now. That's a pretty impressive run the young man has had up to this point.
You see Elton Sawyer there in the 38 car in 2nd place, and right behind him Ricky Craven. Ricky has led this race quite a while there, but he come out in 3rd place. Look for him to make a strong move back to the front.
Pam Miller, our pit producer, reports Elton only took on 2 tires. That put him way up in the running order when all those teams pitted.
I don't think I'd have done that. I tried that last week.
Also, Danny Marshburn, the crew chief on that car, is home in Charlotte. His girlfriend had emergency surgery. Danny left yesterday. And so Bob Sutton, the crew chief, or rather the team owner, is the crew chief today.
Here comes Ricky Craven taking 2nd place away, going into 3rd turn. As you said, Darrell, 2 tires is just not the tip. You see him losing position after one another there.
Boy, it makes you feel good while you're riding around under caution to be that far up in the line, but pretty soon that face gets long when you start falling back. Now, he could be saving tires. I don't know what he's saving them for, but he could be saving them.
Johnny Benson up front. Hermie Sadler right there at 4th spot.
He's just borrowing that position right now. Ricky Craven is flying. He has caught him. He's less than a car length now as they head down the front straightaway. I'd say Ricky Craven right now is the fastest car on the racetrack. The car looks like it is really hooked up. Look for him to go in the lead.
Craven's patient. He's really a thinking driver. Doesn't feel he has to lead every lap.
No, he's a great little race driver. I tell you, I like his style. I like the way he races. He's had his own team. He knows what it takes to put a good car together, and he knows how to take care of it.
Boy, is that car fast in the corner. You can see him gain on Benson there in the middle part of the corner, almost 2 car lengths right in the middle.
And Benson's not going to put up much of a fight here. I mean, he'd be kind of foolish to, really. If Ricky gets a nose under him, he's going to let him go because he doesn't need to jeopardize his position at all.
Well, I could say this. I don't know what Ricky's going to do. You see him take a look to the bottom side there, but he knows that Benson's in a points battle, too. He won't do anything to jeopardize either one of them at this point.
Right. Ricky's run for this championship. Let's get more on this from Larry McReynolds.
Okay, there's a story definitely developing down here in the 2-car pits. They've been rigging up a pull handle with a long extension socket on it. On the last pit stop, the right front had a lug nut gauge coming off. They got one back on. The concern now, can they get it back off when they go to change tires again? Now, his crew chief told me they cannot go the distance from when they last pitted. I checked with Hermie Sadler's pits. With confidence, they said, sure, we can go the distance. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. If we go green the rest of the way, if we have a caution, we've got to watch that right front tire on Ricky Craven's car.
Thanks, Larry. Tommy Houston will make an unscheduled pit stop. We're bringing the Stanley mid-race report. We're at 102 laps, brought to you by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley's been helping people do things right. 3 leaders, only 2 lead changes in the race so far. 2 caution flags for 23 laps and 4 cars out of the race. Larry Carroll, Jimmy Spencer out of it. Also Derek Cope and Kevin LePage.
Well, Ricky's quicker through the corner, and Benson a little quicker down the straightaway.
Boy, I seen Ricky Craven do something just a second ago. I hope he don't try. He's looking to the outside here. I do hope that he does realize that he can't make that move on the outside. Jason Keller there has moved in on both the leader and second place there.
I think what Ricky's doing, buddy, is he's diamonding the corner off a little bit. He's trying to get a little run. He goes up a little high. He'll cut to the inside and try to get some momentum off the corner under Benson. What he's trying to do, I don't believe he's going to try to go by on the outside.
That's a better idea because that outside out there's got 1 lane. That's to the wall.
Ooh.
Chad Little led 11 of 15 races, the first 15 races. Johnny Benson only led 4 of those first 15 races, but Benson in this late season charge has led 7 of the last 8 events.
Pretty impressive.
You know, we were talking about Jason Keller, the 57 car there, running in 3rd place. He was complaining of a push condition in his car. It looks like he made an adjustment. He is lightning fast right now.
That car's right.
Yeah, and I tell you, I watched him at the Indianapolis, and he's not in any hurry. He's sitting right there, and, you know, he's watching those 2 guys. He's got the lead right there in sight. I don't think you'll see him do anything for a while.
What impressed me at Indianapolis is, like Benson here, Keller drives like nobody's behind him. And he had cars on top of him, alongside him, everywhere. He just drives his groove, and you guys all do what you want. I'm in front, and I'm going to run my groove.
Yeah.
4th place, Mike Wallace slides the Duran paint and wallpaper. Number 90 underneath Hermie Sadler. Fastest Ford in the field right now, that number 90 of Mike Wallace.
And has been just about all year. Most of the time when the Ford runs up front, Mike's is one of them, or the one.
See Chad Little there in the 23 car. He's looking over Hermie Sadler on both sides, but it's really tough to pass here. I'm watching these cars. They gain about 4 or 5 car lengths, and then they really can't do anything when they get there.
Chad Little up and underneath. The number 1 of Hermie Sadler going to make a run at him here. No.
I think Hermie's backed up just a teeny bit. He didn't make the right adjustments on the last caution.
Well, he's trying to get under Sadler right there. As you see, he's looking both sides there. Looking on the bottom side, no good.
You see the point leaders all in good contention here, but for Mike McLaughlin, who had damage from the Jimmy Spencer incident with Rich Bickle, Chad Little makes the pass, puts the Ford up a notch onto the leaderboard, 5th place. And Jeff Green, along with Ward Burton, pass underneath Hermie Sadler.
Boy, it don't take much. Just get out of that groove just a little bit. Darrell, are you learning a lot for tomorrow? Since you didn't get to run the first race here this year.
I've learned one thing. The more things change here, the more they stay the same. That's what I've learned. You don't want to get off the bottom, and if you do, you better be sure you got room to get in line when you get in line.
So Chad Little moves up, and Jeff Green appears to have one of the fastest cars on the speedway right now in that Goodwrench Chevrolet. Green looking for his first victory, and this is a track that rewards first-time winners. Here he goes.
The last time we seen this, the two of them went round and round there in Richmond.
Oh, yes, on the last lap.
I watched that on television, and that was obvious something was going to happen. They run side by side, they got each other loose, and finally they spun each other out.
Well, Jeff Green made the pass there, and Ward Burton got by Chad Little, so they're on the move toward the front.
They are. They're closing up fast. They're pulling away from Chad and really making headway toward the front.
Ward Burton's got a good car today, too, that Caterpillar car.
That car has been fast. You know, ever since Ward got in the car has been fast.
There's the interval back. Ward has 2 8ths and a 3rd place in this car. He took it over, and a 5th.
These guys are racing like crazy and closing up, but you look at Mike Wallace. He's moved in on that front group. This is just behind Mike Wallace that we're watching here, Jeff Green. See, Mike Wallace has actually run the leaders down, and he's the 4th place car in the set here.
Well, you know, the fun thing about this series is you just see the same guys seem like they come to the front every week. I think about Indianapolis, Richmond, or wherever. Mike Wallace ran up front, had a shot at winning. Keller had a shot at winning. And when Ricky runs, he's got a shot at winning. Of course, Benson's there. Green's there. They're all there, and they're there every week.
Mike Wallace finished 2nd here in June to Mike McLaughlin. 114 laps out of the 200 will run today. Winston Cup racing here tomorrow, of course. Busch Grand National Racing Live on TNN continues after this word.
Going backwards.
Welcome back to Dover Downs. We are under green after that round of pit stops during the late caution period. Here's Elton Sawyer, who took on only 2 tires and restarted 2nd. He has dropped to 11th place.
Mike, he not only is going backwards, he's a half a lap back of the lead cars in just his brief run that he's had here. So it really did take a lot out of that car. It was a contender until he put just 2 tires on it.
There's 12th place David Green, who's moved up a few spots here in these last few laps.
Yeah,
Jim Chevy.
Green and Ward Burton have really, they've closed the gap on the lead pack there, and they're going to be right there very, very shortly.
And Doug Hevron still very much in this race on the lead lap. The Cincinnati Millicron number 35, pulling up along the outside of David Green. He may lose a spot to Steve Grissom here.
Now there's a guy that I've been wondering where he was, because he's got a fast car most of the time.
Grissom in that light blue channel lock machine gets underneath Elton Sawyer, grabs another spot.
Wow.
And that's Doug Hevron going past Sawyer.
I bet he won't take on 2 the next time if he stops. He'll get them all.
Buckshot Jones coming up on Hermie Sadler, 8th place here. And the Longhorn Steakhouse Chevy moves on up. That Pearson-led team doing well.
That's got to be one of the best runs they've had that I can remember.
Buckshot started 28th today. He's come to 8th. It's only his first time at Dover and only his 8th career Busch start.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive run for him.
Well, they did a pretty smart thing. They got Pearson as the crew chief. They also bought the cars that Dennis Setzer raced, so that is a very good race car going right there.
Bought the whole company, not just the Razor, however that thing goes. So let's go to Glenn in his pit.
Well, guys, you've pretty much said everything that I was going to say. That
Sorry.
Okay. But that is the key right there, the fact that they have Ricky Pearson turning the wrenches here. Robert Presley won a couple of Busch races here with Ricky Pearson as the crew chief, so he had a terrific setup on the car. And Buckshot, to his credit, has done a very commendable job. He has not gotten the car in a position that he didn't want to get it in. I've watched him most of the day. The kid's doing a heck of a job. I think he's going to make a race.
He's closing up on Chad Little, and I'm with Chad running in the top. He's 7th, so he's closing up on 7th place.
See Ricky Craven moving back up here in 2nd spot. He dropped off Benson there. I think he might have just cooled himself a little bit there. He's a very patient race car driver. You see him look to the inside, not quite. And if you look at Ricky right here, he's so much quicker in the center part of the corner, but Benson's car gets rocket ship ability coming up out of the corner.
See, there's something about Ricky that his crew told him, said, Ricky, we got a problem with the right front. you got a guy like Ricky that's a thinker the way he is. He's going to sit there for a while and think, now what am I going to do when I got to change that right front tire? So and it's very frustrating for him to have a car that's as good as his is, knowing he may have a problem when he pits. And he's thinking that all over right now.
He's right there. Past winners where they're running in this race. It's funny, John Munson, who was Craven's crew chief when he had his own team and also worked for Alan Kulwicki. We were talking at dinner the other night about how similar Kulwicki and Craven are in their approach to the race team and the race car.
Yeah. You can see on the front of Benson's car there, he has a huge white wrapper stuck to the grill on that car. I don't think it's enough to make it run hot because he's got a big opening there, but Ricky Craven has moved in on it.
Battle up front heating up. Craven running for money and Benson running for a championship, but as we've seen, Johnny Benson is not one to lay back and collect points. Now right behind them in third, Jason Keller, and in fourth, Mike Wallace. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Guys, I was going to go check with Steve Bird to try to find out. You were talking about the hot dog wrapper on Johnny Benson's car. I was making some notes of myself there. I want to find out if indeed that is running the water temperature up. Now let's throw it to Larry and I'll find out that.
Glenn, I'm standing in the Mike Wallace pit. I talked to Barry Owen. In that first run up to that last caution, their car was really pushing off the corner. The front end would not stick. They made several major adjustments. They took some wedge out. They put some air in the right rear tire, which will really help the car turn off the corner. Their concern is from when they pitted that the tires will not go to the end of this race should it go green. Now, if they have took some of the push out of the car, that will help the wear on the right front because their right front was definitely wore in the 80-something laps that they run it.
Tire management, resource management becomes the key here. Will the tires stay under the car for this length of time? Johnny Benson leads it in the Lipton T, number 74. There is Ricky Craven in second, Jason Keller in third, Mike Wallace in fourth, and Jeff Green has climbed to fifth.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it.
Welcome back to Dover. 135 laps on the board. Johnny Benson holding off the number 2 car of Ricky Craven. While we were away, watch the youngest driver in the field, Buckshot Jones, go to work on number 2 point man Chad Little.
Wow, he got loose getting in the corner there. He was about to lose control. Chad seen him coming on the inside and give him plenty of room.
Yeah.
Lucky for Buckshot.
I think he got on the brakes. I think he thought Chad was going to come down. He kind of jumped on the brakes and shook the car loose. But Mike, you hit on something a while ago that I thought was, I think, very important. Tire management. We don't have it in Winston Cup. It's totally out of control. We use 40, 50 tires a week. These guys, they run the same kind of tracks we do, same races we do, and they get by on 3 sets. And that's something we need to look at in Winston Cup. It's just ridiculous amount of tires we use.
I'll tell you about Buckshot Jones' season. He came to 6 straight Busch races and failed to qualify for each one in a car they had bought from the Jeff Purvis team. Finished 34th at Milwaukee, and then Ricky Pearson joined this team and Eddie, and started running this team out of their Spartanburg shops. And since then, they've qualified for every race. They have 2 top 12s and a top 10 finish. Wow. This is the highest he's run. He's at 7th place.
And looking real good. I mean, he's one of the quicker cars on the racetrack right now.
Now here are your leaders working race traffic. They're underneath Randy LaJoie. You're watching from LaJoie's car as Ricky Craven goes by.
Daryl, you're a hoot to sit up here with. He knocked me out of my chair 2 or 3 times here with his elbow. He can't stand to see Johnny Benson when he gets in lap over traffic, getting a tight spot. He's giving me the elbow up here, folks.
Tell me what it's like to be leading the points and have to run in a bunch of cars like this. Do you even think about that championship at that time, or are you just running this race and running it to win?
No, you know, right now he's got a fast car. He's out front, and so he's racing to win. But it's really like having a bit in your mouth. And you just keep pulling against that bit, even though it's cutting and it's hurting. You just keep pulling against it because you know sometime you ought to let off and hold back a little bit. But this is an absolute perfect way to do it. Have at it, buddy. He's got a pretty good lead in the point standings. He can afford to go out there and run pretty hard right now, and he's doing it.
Back here at 7th place, Buckshot Jones and Chad Litter are pulling down on Ward Burton. Here is how Buckshot's day went from lap 44. Steady climb through the field.
His car looks really good, Mike. I mean, he's right on the bottom of the racetrack. And, you know, in all honesty, being back out of the mix right now, is it good for a driver like him? Get some lap time, get some lap experience here, track time to learn the track.
That's right. He's never been here.
Mike, since he bought these Fords that Dennis Setzer was driving and got with Ricky Pearson, I don't think he's missed the cut yet.
No, he hasn't.
And this car is really handling. You see him right there. That's Larry Pearson. He's gaining up on there in the 92 car. I mean, he's flying around his racetrack. Track position is so important here. If they have a caution or something, don't count him out.
Well, Larry Pearson got himself a lap down earlier. One lap back. Pearson running the Stanley Tools car in 23rd place. You know, Jones is 25. So is Jason Keller, who won at Indianapolis.
Golly,
Youngest guys
buddy.
in the field.
Do you have any idea what it's like to be 25?
Yeah, I can barely remember. I know one thing. It was a lot different racing then than it is now. Look at Jeff Green here. Ward Burton's pulled right up behind him there. Jeff Green may be the fastest car here. You see just in front of him Jason Keller there. I mean, he's running the leaders down, so don't be surprised. This guy hadn't won yet this year, but everybody's expecting it any time now.
Well, this would be the place to do it. 11 times a Busch driver has won his first career victory at this racetrack. And that's what Jeff Green's counting on today.
Well, here's Elton Sawyer, the next guy that they're going to put a lap down. So, you know, you asked me if I learned anything. I learned one, don't put 2 tires on your car tomorrow.
Lead battle, turn 1. Here is Craven going for it on the bottom. In traffic, takes it away from Johnny Benson.
It's just a big chess game. He caught him there when he was looking those lap over cars over and made that move, and watch him go now.
Yeah, well, see, when you're behind the leader, you get a second chance. The leader gets one chance to go the right way. You get a second chance.
Pulling up on Johnny Rumley in the Big Johnson T-shirt car. And Mike Wallace has moved to 3rd, putting Jason Keller to 4th. Chevy, Ford, Chevy.
Now Ricky's in a kind of a mess there. You see him coming in behind lap cars. That's Jeff Green coming in the picture there. Wow. A little touch on Jason Keller there.
Yeah, he got Curtis Markham. And I'll tell you, you know, the 2 rookies there, Markham and Fuller, both I thought did a super job to get out of the leader's way.
Yeah.
Fuller was faster than Markham, came up on him, but left plenty of room for the leaders, or that could have been ugly. Now here's Elton Sawyer with those only 2 tires on the pit stop, and he's about to get lapped in the 4th grid at 38.
Ooh, Ricky.
Look at Ricky Craven. He looked to the outside. It's not good out there, kid.
Well, he likes to make that kind of fade up in the middle of the corner, go high, and then make that run off the corner. It's worked pretty good for him. I think that's really what he's got in mind.
As mentioned, too, Phil Parsons started 26th, and he's now up into 9th place, so he's coming home.
I hope that's what he's got in mind, buddy. Those 2 guys there are going to be a little problem for him, trying to keep him going a lap down, run up on that 58 car.
What you have, Johnny Rumley. Look at Rumley. He's coming on.
That was a wheel mark.
Yeah, wheel mark there on the 2 as Johnny Rumley goes in the corner. Here goes Ricky Craven by Johnny Benson.
Now Sawyer is balked by an even slower car just ahead.
Yeah.
And almost turned it.
Oh, they're hung together. They were hung together momentarily.
He almost got into Toby Tobias there. That was why Sawyer slowed so dramatically. But Craven still has yet to put a lap on Johnny Rumley. And Benson right there being patient. Not that there was any place to go.
Yeah.
And we're 150 laps in. 50 laps to go at Dover Downs. Ricky Craven has taken the lead. We'll be right back. Now, I can't take you back to when Buddy Baker was 25, but this is September 1982, and that's Darrell Waltrip racing to one of his 5 victories here at the Monster Mine.
Who do you think was in that car behind me?
I know.
No.
I know.
No. Who was it, buddy?
That was Richard Petty.
That was Kyle Petty.
That's right. Yep.
I'll never forget that day. I called Junior. Junior called me on the radio and said Richard had gotten in Kyle's car. And I said, well, he sure is driving kind of rough because he'd hit me a couple of times. When the race over with, Kyle climbed up out of that thing. So Kyle has to have a reputation for running good here.
Yep. Yes, he does. He starts 3rd tomorrow. And you start where?
19.
Got him right where you want him.
I don't care where I am. I'm on the inside.
Yeah. All right. While we were away.
Seems like I've heard that before.
Yes. Ward Burton got up and under Jeff Green. and took over 5th place.
I'll tell you what, that was a power move too, because the 3 car did not back off and let him go. He passed him right in the center part of the corner, so Ward Burton's on a nice mission right now.
He is chasing down the lead cars right now.
He's in warp drive.
Yep. He's got that Caterpillar cat.
Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running. Well, 11 of the first 14 Busch races at Dover were won by Winston Cup drivers, but 8 of the last 9 here have been won by the Busch Series regulars. So count Benson as a regular, Craven as a Cupper, Mike Wallace, Winston Cup driver, Jason Keller, Busch Series regular. Kind of an even sprinkle there throughout the top 4 to 6 spots. Give a call to Robbie Reiser. He's up to 11th. Good comeback after that hard wreck that he had at Talladega. This is his, I believe, 2nd race back.
Yeah, and he's chasing Hermie Sadler down right now and got a good chance of moving past him.
There's Benson in 2nd, Mike Wallace in 3rd, and Jason Keller in 4th.
This thing's going to get interesting here at the end, Mike, because you know, it doesn't look like there's any caution flags anywhere right now.
And Wallace is really working over Benson.
Mike took a look to the inside there going into turn 1, but he knows the point standings also, and he didn't put him in a bad place there. You remember things like that later on in your racing career too. He knows Johnny Benson's going to be here many a day, so he'll race him good and clean.
Slow car on the bottom was Randy LaJoy. So Donnelly up top. Again, look at the disparity between the lap cars and the lead lap cars and some of those closing speeds.
Well, Mike, the reason for that is they're giving way and they're going out in the loose part of the racetrack, so they're coming off the corner quite a bit slower than the guys that are down in the racing groove.
Ricky Craven's decided time to go, and he gets underneath Johnny Rumley to put Rumley. Not a lap down, not that time. He had a bid underneath but couldn't complete it. Rumley's car has gotten better on a long run than it was on the restart.
Well, you never know what happened, Mike. You might have got caught back in the back in traffic, and you get a lap down easy here. You just lose 2 or 3 tenths a lap. First thing you know, you got the leader breathing down your back.
And now, Craven makes the pass. And not only does he get Rumley a lap down, but he's got some breathing room on Benson with a car that's almost as fast as the leaders.
Yeah. It's going to get interesting. There could be some green flag stops coming up here. There were some of the guys like Phil Parsons that come in, topped off. I guess he might have tapped off too, but and he can go all the way.
Lapping past Tom Peck, who's in the UniFirst Uniforms car today at Dover, his home racetrack. And Ricky Craven opens up a little bit of advantage. 164 laps complete, 36 to go. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Hardee's. Get made from scratch biscuits, fresh from the kitchen at Hardee's.
30 laps to go, and Johnny Benson, the point leader and 2nd place car, is on pit road.
I think he's
coasting. I think you may be right. Glenn, is that car running as he comes to you?
Mike, he is. He's running awfully slow. Yeah, it is running. And you know, this is amazing. Steve Bird told me they were going to pit on lap 170. He did that. He ran to lap 170, came in. That's the first time in my career anybody's ever told me that, and it came to be. All they did was change right side tires, put fuel in it, and he's down and away.
Robbie Reiser, who had climbed up to 11th spot, is coasting around the racetrack, and they're pushing Bobby Dotter's car back to the garage.
Boy, that's going to be bad news, because he's going to stop over there on the back straightaway, I'm afraid, or down here in turn 3. And if he does, some of these lead cars that are pitting right now are going to be in jeopardy.
Tracy Leslie's been in. Elton Sawyer, Larry Pearson have made pit stops. I believe there's an access area there for the rescue trucks that Reiser might be able to get off of.
If he'll pull in right there, it'll save a caution. If he doesn't, we're going to have a caution, and that's going to really hurt Johnny Benson. He did not pull in. Bad decision.
Ricky Craven soldiers on lap 173. Let's go back to Glenn.
Well, guys, Jason Keller is scheduled to come in on lap 180. Now, the car's down in my end of pit road. Jeff Green's crew chief, Tony Urey, tells me he can make it the rest of the way on fuel. And also, Chad Little, who stopped on lap 80, says that they can make it the rest of the way on fuel. But as I report that, they're getting ready to bring Chad in. So, must have been a little bit of miscalculation there.
Glenn, they might want to wait a bit. Reiser is going to need a tailwind if he's going to get to pit road.
If he can just get a little further here, he's right in the entrance of pit lane's only problem. They're going to have to throw a caution if he stops here.
He is going to make it.
I think he's going to make it. Yep.
Boy, that surprises me.
There will be no yellow.
The crew is running after him. You know, he must be out of gas.
Well, let's talk about some of the leaders' pit stops coming up. Here's Larry.
I'm standing in the Ricky Craven pits. They was getting a report about the Robbie Riser car, and I think they was waiting to see what unfolded on that before they come in. It's like everybody was waiting to follow the leader. Once Johnny Benson committed to pit road, you could see them start to scramble in the Ricky Craven pit. Now, talking to Mike Wallace's crew and to Ward Burton's crew down here on pit road, these guys are not running for points. They come to Dover, Delaware to win the race. I don't think they'll do anything unsafe, but both those cars are handling good, and you may just see them roll the dice and try to make it to the end without pitting.
Larry, I think you're right. I think some of these drivers are going to gamble and not stop. Chad Little is one who will stop. Glenn is there.
You're exactly right, Mike. He will not take a gamble of any kind right now. Since Benson pitted, Chad has to. They could not take a chance running out of fuel. They're changing right side tires. 1 can of gas is all they're going to need. Chad's down and away. That's a pretty good stop, but you're exactly right. No gamble.
Robbie Riser was out of fuel. He is now back in the race. 23 laps to go.
Buckshot.
Bill Parsons has climbed to 6th as Buckshot Jones comes to pit road. Parsons may not have to stop. He's one of the quicker cars on the racetrack.
No, he doesn't. He stopped there, you remember, and topped off, and so I think he's in good shape. That could be a winning call right there.
Randy Pemberton?
No doubt about it. You hit it on the head. David Ifft come to me as this race started winding down. He said, don't those leaders have to pit? I said, I think they do, David, but he's concerned about it. They're going to go all the way. And just to add up what Larry said, the 95 car Ward Burton says they are going to go all the way. They cannot go all the way on the 2 car. They're 5 laps short.
Oh. Parsons had a 4th at Darlington and a 5th at Darlington in the spring. His 2 best finishes this year. Craven will have to stop.
Darrell, that's about the worst thing a man can hear. You're 5 laps short of making it. You have a lead like Craven has right there. Man, that's awful news to get this late in the race.
If I had a lead like that right there, I'd be slowing that thing down and get me 5 more laps somehow. I'd be soft pedaling that bad boy for a while.
You're drafting off butterflies.
Well, you can back off and you can go a lot further than you think you can. And he don't have to run hard as he's running right now.
He has to run 20 laps to win it, unless there's a caution. And even so, then that will put him to the end of the line.
Well, you know, I did see Elton Sawyer go by him just a few laps ago. He may have backed up just a little bit, tried to stretch this thing and make it all the way.
Larry?
I'm in the Ward Burton pits. They are filling it up with gas, changing right side tires. I get the impression that it's only going to be a 2-tire stop. He's away with 2 right sides, full of gas, ready to go to the end.
And here's your leader. Ricky Craven out of Newburgh, Maine, made a strong run for the championship as Johnny Rumley closes in. Then went Winston Cup racing.
You know, Mike, it wasn't very long ago we was talking about him trying to put Rumley a lap down. Now it looks like he's going to overhaul him.
Yeah, but he's not racing that kid. He's racing that 90 car now. And he's saving fuel, buddy. He's backed her down. He's going to save some fuel.
Last year's champion, David Green. Bobby Labonte, Slim Jim 44. Final pit stop. He was 11th when he pitted.
Yeah, he's had a good run today.
And there is Rumley going past. Now, is Craven pitting, or is he just going to conserve here?
He acts like a man that's going to try to stretch this thing to me. I see smoke coming out of the right bank there.
Looks like a man who's out of gas. Randy?
No, he just cooked
Well, if he's out of fuel, he missed pit road because he sputtered last time by. Sounded like he dropped the cylinder to me, guys.
Yeah.
Mike, you could see the gray smoke come out of the right pipe. That don't happen when you run out of fuel.
No, he cooked her.
17 laps to go, and Ricky Craven, what happened to Doug Hevron last race here may have happened to Ricky Craven. Larry?
As he come down pit road, all the guys just kind of hung their head. The motor did go away on the Ricky Craven car. I'm standing in the Mike Wallace pits. It's like there's still some debate whether we do or whether we don't. I looked at Barry Owens. I said, what are you going to do? He just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, I don't know. What would you do? So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, that's a fair question. Larry McReynolds is the Winston Cup crew chief for the Robert Yates team in the 28 Texaco Havilland car. So if you're going to ask anybody walking along pit road, Larry, you would be the guy to ask. Caution has come out on the speedway. There is Jason Keller bouncing along through the grass. Randy?
A lot of these guys were talking about those tires. We talked early on, how far can you go on them? Well, it started to become a stretch. Jason Keller popped the wall coming on to turn 4. We saw him go by. A tough break for them. Now the question is, who stops, who doesn't? At least you can stop under caution. But the 99, possibly the 3, there's some guys here that are going to race for this win. They made some good strategy early on.
And in just a space of 2 laps, the 2 front row starters get taken out of contention. Craven with engine trouble and a cut right front tire for Jason Keller. Craven, who led 12 laps here last year, led 109 laps today. Last year, after Craven lost the lead, Jason Keller took it over until he got crowded up into the fence, and Mike McLaughlin took the lead. Larry?
I'm in the Mike Wallace pits. I think with Jason Keller maybe trying to stretch those tires just a little bit too far. With only 9 cars on the lead lap, you're going to see all these cars on the lead lap come in and get those tires. Now, Barry Owens has indicated to me that he's only going to change 2. You know, that'll be interesting to see since we've seen 2 tires earlier not work out. So I'm going to put my money on whoever can come in here and get them 4 tires.
All right, here are the lead lap cars. Mike Wallace, the leader. Jason Keller stays out. He was the 2nd place car. Jeff Green is on the lead lap. Phil Parsons, the number 1 of Hermie Sadler, the 29 of Steve Grissom, the 34 Mike McLaughlin. Doug Heveron is still in contention, and so is Keller, and Johnny Rumley is back on the lead lap. Here's Larry.
Okay, I'm in the Mike Wallace pits like he told me he was going to do. He only took on 2 right side tires, a little bit of fuel, and he's away. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing unfolds with a little over 10 laps to go in this thing.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do. 10 laps to go, 2 tires. I believe that's what I do. Get back out there, get up front, and those tires will hold out. You know, we saw Elton Sawyer hang in there for 10, 15 laps before he started going backwards. So I think that's a good call.
Mike McLaughlin comes out, and Ricky Craven goes a lap down as the crew tries to cure the motor woes in the DuPont Chevrolet. There are 13 laps left to run. Don't go away. We'll be back after this. .189 laps are complete as you ride with Hermie Sadler. And it appeared that Doug Heveron was going to stay on the speedway and not stop during this caution flag. He led the last lap, but now he's put the Cincinnati Millicron car on pit road, so he'll be the last car on the lead lap when we go back to green. Ricky Craven has climbed out of his car after what looked like a winning day. Glenn's with him.
Well, Ricky, you had things going your way. The car was awfully strong, but may have stretched it just a little too far. Tell us exactly what happened.
Well, you know, it was going to come down to fuel, and I think we burned a piston. Hard to tell why. You know, you never know why these things happen, but DuPont Chevrolet was running today. It always does when we come to Dover, and we've run well all year. I feel bad for the guys that they only get to race 8 times a year, and they deserve to win today, but we'll get them at Charlotte.
Well, you can bet that when he's back, he'll be up front. Also, just to update you on Jason Keller's problems, he had just radioed in to his crew that he thought he needed right side tires very badly. They were going to bring him in the next lap. The tire blew that very lap. The right front tire blew. Put him in the wall. Jason is in the pit right now. They're doing some work on the right front of the car. He's very badly damaged. The toe in on the car. They're just trying to get him fixed so he can finish these last few laps. Tough break for both Craven and Keller. They were awfully strong, but they won't win today.
Thanks, Glenn. 10 laps to go. Restart next time by. Who do you think?
Well, that 25 car, we watched him fight with the leader there for a while. The leader got by him. He gets back by the leader, and now he's leading the race. He went from a lap down about 10 or so laps ago to the leader.
Must not have stopped.
He didn't. He didn't stop, but he's leading the race.
There's a tire off Jason Keller's car.
Mike, I don't think you'll be able to hold on, not with old tires and all. They'll get by him pretty quick, I believe. Rumley's in the lead, though.
How about Mike Wallace with 2 tires?
I don't think that's a bad call. I think for 10 laps, I believe that'll be okay.
Well, I'm going to gamble. Just behind him is Jeff Green. He is very hungry for a win.
Did he take 4?
Yep. I think he did. I'm not sure. I didn't count tires, but I can guarantee you one thing. He's got as many as anybody else has.
Mike McLaughlin's up in there, too, and his car was really off the pace.
Oh, wait a second. We may get a penalty here. We're under 10 to go, getting set for the restart. And we are not going to get the green. We are under caution. And Chad Little comes to pit road. The number board is up for Johnny Benson.
Wow. 74 is posted.
For a failure to realign single file for the restart.
Oh, it's a 10-lap rule.
Let's see.
It's a 10-lap rule.
Right.
If you're a lap down, you cannot close up. You got to go let the leaders all get in front of you.
All right. So there's Benson trying to get behind at least the lead lap cars.
Yeah.
Little came to pit road.
See, when the inside 10 laps, all lead cars go to the front. If you're a lap down, you got to let them guys all go to the front. You can't move up to the inside. It's single file with all the lead cars up front.
Now 57 Keller still posted on the lead lap, so he'll get to move up. We get realigned for the restart. It'll be 8 to go when they come back. And Chad Little and Johnny Benson both go to the tail end of the field for failure to realign. Now Keller had better hustle if he's going to get up in position, and your leader is Johnny Rumley, who also has never won a Busch Grand National race. And Rumley's best finish this season was 6th at Dover in June.
Watching him race with Ricky Craven a few minutes ago, this cat could win this race.
He could do it.
I'm telling you.
I take that back. Johnny Rumley won at Hickory in his own car. That helped him get this right. Excuse me, I'd forgotten that. All right, 8 laps to go. Green is on for the restart. Johnny Rumley drags him down the front straightaway. Look at this battle down to the inside. On Mike McLaughlin, Hermie Sadler takes track position. He's the 5th place car.
Mike's not going to give that up easily, but I think Hermie's got the position.
Rumley got a good restart, but Mike Wallace is closing in.
Well, folks, this is when it gets real tense right here.
Steve Grissom pulls right up on the back bumper of McLaughlin. Front straightaway, 7 to go. And Buckshot Jones, Ward Burton.
I'm sure Johnny Benson's real frustrated having to be put to the rear of the field after being a contender all day.
As did Chad Little. They're both now a lap down because of those pit stops.
Mike Wallace has really got an advantage in the corners, but Johnny Rumley's holding his line. It's going to take some real moves to get by him, as you said.
I believe he can. I believe he's going to hold
Phil
him off.
Parsons, Mike McLaughlin. Parsons down to the apron, carries him up high, and they're okay.
I want you to notice that 25 car is motoring away. And we don't have that far to go, folks.
Randy Pemberton.
Well, Phil Parsons absolutely flying. One of the only guys up there that took on 4. He's coming down the front stretch to go into Hermie. He is all over these guys, but he doesn't have enough time.
Phil Parsons dropped to the inside on Hermie Sadler. The leaders will be tough to catch. That's Jeff Green just ahead. Green is not going to win this unless something happens in front of him.
I was just fixing to get my dog out of that fight. He's dropping back just a little bit. Jeff's tires are not matched up very well.
I don't think he took the 2. He wasn't that good. You know, he needed a little help. I think he should have took 4.
Here comes Hermie getting side by side. As you can see, Jeff Green just gives way.
Oh, and Phil Parsons slides past.
Clear high.
As the Herminator picks up to 3rd spot.
Let me tell you, that 25 car is pulling away. What a drive by that young man. I'm so impressed with the way he stayed on the lead lap, and now he's leading the race and going to win this thing, I believe.
Here is Hebron taking the spot from Jeff Green, who's just backpedaling badly, and Buckshot Jones moves up. There is Johnny Benson and Chad Little, each a lap down. Still running hard with 3 to go.
I bet the souvenir sales are going to pick up over at the Big Johnson truck this afternoon.
Wouldn't surprise me. Hold your puns, folks.
Don't
Hold
give
your
it
puns.
away. Hermie Sadler is really flying in 3rd place there with Phil Parsons just behind him.
Yeah. 2 to go.
And that's the problem. With only 2 laps to go.
Yeah, they're running out of fingers now as far as laps go. I guarantee you that Johnny Rumley will not roll over and play dead either. He is a good short track driver.
Boy, Mike Wallace just put an evasive move on Hermie Sadler. Woo, I don't think I'd have done that.
Now that Don Beverly car.
Here comes Hermie Sadler taking over 2nd place.
Yeah.
All right, Sadler to 2nd and Phil Parsons to 3rd. Hermie used to drive the car that's in the lead, the Don Beverly car. That Johnny Rumley has 1 more lap to circle Dover Downs.
There goes.
Phil Parsons and Hermie Sadler get at it. Checkered flag is in the wind. Here comes Johnny Rumley of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
What a
Out
win.
of turn 4 to victory lane he'll go. Sadler is 2nd, Parsons is 3rd, and it's side by side for 4th between Mike Wallace and Steve Grissom.
Folks, people say, why do they race so hard when they're being passed by the leaders? That's right there is why.
Stay on the lead lap.
Stay on that lead lap. You've always got a chance.
Get in a position to win.
What a win.
Rumley's only other victory, Hickory, North Carolina, 1993. You saw that one on TNN in an Oldsmobile owned by Bob Hicks.
Well, when Ricky Craven started having his problems, he slowed just enough with the 25 car to get back by. He come in, man, it was all over.
Pit road, Larry McReynolds.
Okay, I'm standing here with Sammy Houston, crew chief for Johnny Rumley. Sammy, you're not absent from victory lane. You won a bunch of races with Mark Martin, but how about this win here today at Dover?
Well, this was kind of bittersweet. We've been trying to turn this team around for Don Beverly and Big Johnson. We made a gutsy call there with Steve Grissom and Mike McLaughlin to get gas and stay out from a lap 80 or so on, and it worked out for us. We had a good call, long runs like you and some other people have helped me with, and it was just a good day for us because it all came through and we got him a speedway victory.
Okay, a week ago, you went home from Richmond, did not qualify. Now you're fixing to make a trip to victory lane.
This racing will keep you humble, won't it?
It's definitely a humbling sport. I tell you, this is a happy group down here, and it's good to see a guy like Johnny Rumley win a race.
And it's the first win for car owner Don Beverly since Hermie Sadler drove his car to victory lane at Rougemont, North Carolina, April 1994. We'll be back and go to victory lane after this word. Johnny Rumley has won the MBNA 200 at Dover.
Well, welcome back to Dover, Delaware, where Johnny Rumley has just pulled into victory lane. The crew, these guys are excited, and I don't blame them. As Mike told you, it was Johnny's second Busch Grand National victory. Jump down here, Rumley. First of all, man, I want to say congratulations. What a great call you guys made in the pits, but you did one great job on the racetrack, too. You were so close to being a lap down there, you just wouldn't let them do it.
Yeah, I tell you, I hated to race Ricky that hard. Sammy said stay with it, and knew we had a decent race car. We come in, got gas, and got in the back. And first of all, let me say thank God for that one, and thank this crew, Don Beverly and these guys done a great job. Sammy, Jimmy, I can't mention them all, but Carolyn, I love you. The kids, I love you. That's the main thing. And this is the second one, so people wrote me off. I guess they thought I couldn't drive, but I think we can get the job done.
Well, man, I never wrote you off today. I knew exactly who you were, if you remember Hickory. We had a little fun with Johnny, but this team has struggled, as you said. Last week, you didn't even make the race. This week, you come home in first place. It can turn around in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to keep digging, and, thanks to Big Johnson, Oneida, and those guys, we got on the winner's circle. That's the main thing. At least I may be driving next year. I like quit roofing. I know that.
Johnny thinks he might have found a permanent career here today at Dover. What a great win. Congratulations to all you guys.
Well, a fellow named Harry Gant did a pretty good job of roofing and driving from time to time. But Rumley, what Glenn was saying, at Hickory, next time we came back and Rumley was at the racetrack after he'd had his big win, Glenn says, well, Johnny, you got your big win here at Hickory. Has your phone been ringing a lot? And Johnny said, no. And finally, it looks like he got the right call.
Yeah, we'll see what happened. He didn't make the race last week, so he had to go home and lay a lot of roof this past week. So I think he had some added incentive. He probably drove a little harder today. Inside that, it makes roofing look awful boring when you've had a day like that. A tremendous call in the pits, obviously, but also a great job by, obviously, a guy that can get the job done, a great driver.
Well, Darrell, we know you got to go do some Winston Cup practicing, or we're going to lay out some shingles for you
well,
to get ready for the 500 tomorrow.
I had a great time up here, guys. Another good job by all of y'all, and another great race here at Dover, and I'm sure you'll see the same thing again tomorrow. I hope I'm right up in the middle of it.
Always a pleasure working with you,
All right,
man.
bud. Mike,
for joining
see y'all,
us.
guys.
Right. We'll be back with more of the aftermath of the MBNA 200. As Johnny Benson now leads by 215 Busch Grand National points over Chad Little. A very competitive MBNA 200. A dozen or so cars could have won it. Johnny Rumley did.
Mike, it just proves one thing, never give up. Johnny Rumley fought a great battle today, and it paid off for him.
Well, let's go meet the fourth place finisher. Here's Larry McReynolds.
Mike, I'm standing here with Mike Wallace. Mike, you and I was talking. At one point, you was working to lap that 25 car. Where did he come from?
Larry, I'm not sure how it all worked out because Ricky was up there trying to lap him. I thought he just got by him. I guess he blew up and kept him on his lead lap. Kind of the strangest results I ever seen. You're about to go a lap down, you end up winning the race, but my hat's off to Johnny and Don Beverly and his crew, and boy, that's one that got away from us. I thought we had that thing won. We come in and put right sides only on it, thought we were just going to drive right by him, and had even talked to the 25 car, Spotter and those guys, and says, look, don't hold us up. We're racing the guys behind them. He says, no problem, but they were faster than we were. We got a set of tires, and it was really tight. It wouldn't turn, and then I guess the cars with 4 tires turned around and drove underneath me on it. It's a shame. The Duron Paints, Holly Myers, Clouser, Ford Thunderbird it was running really well. And, man, this one hurts here. It just got away from us.
Y'all made some major adjustments there about lap 85 on that caution. The car really come around then, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing was extremely tight. I'd get in the center of the corner, and I'd have to roll out of the gas, and, I just couldn't drive off the corner wide open. So we took a round bite out and put 2 pounds air pressure in the right rear tire, and it got pretty quick then, but then as the tires wore, picked up that push late in the race again, and then heck, when we put them new tires on, I thought we were going to be in good shape, and it just got so tight. It wouldn't turn through the center nor get off, and just leave Hermie Sadler and Phil Parsons, those guys drive underneath of us.
Learn something for that Winston Cup car tomorrow?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I learned a lot today. I really did. I learned a lot of different grooves on this racetrack that I didn't realize were there, and what some changes we'll do to the car, and hopefully we have this good a car tomorrow. We'll be just fine.
I'm telling you guys, it's amazing what a caution flag can make in the difference of a race.
No kidding. I'll tell you, 2 of the cars that had a chance to go to victory lane had this race been 10 laps longer were certainly Hermie Sadler and Phil Parsons. Parsons ended up 3rd on the board. Let's go down to him in the garage.
And a great run it was with for Phil Parsons, Mike. And Phil, you came in on that last caution flag there and took on 4 tires, so you knew that your car would go to the front.
Yeah, well, we had a good car all day, Glenn. I really hated to see the caution flag because we topped off at the end of that caution flag, and we had enough fuel to go the distance. So I really hated to see that caution flag, but it came out and we came in. We put 4 tires on. The guys did a super job. I'll tell you, Goodyear had a super tire today. I mean, those things ran lap after lap after lap. I just want to thank my whole Luxair crew. Scott Boxer, our president, was here today. I want to thank him for his support. I want to say hello to Martian and Kinsley. I'll be home about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. But I tell you, it was a fun race. I wish we'd had a few more laps because I believe we had the best car at the end of the race. We started 8th or 9th on that last restart. We got up to 3rd, and I had more car than Hermie, and I feel like I had more car than Johnny. But we ran out of laps, so my hat's off to them. I want to congratulate them. But we'll try to get them to Charlotte.
Some pretty exciting racing there that last lap with Hermie Sadler, side-by-side action.
Yeah, well, if I could ever got up beside him, then I could have got position. He did a pretty good job. He kept me behind him. That's what the deal is here. It's pretty hard to pass on the outside. So he tried to get a run, try to get up to his door, make him get out of the throttle. But I never quite got far enough for Hermie to have to get out of the throttle. So a few more laps, I believe I'd have got him. But he got this one.
Congratulations, Phil Parsons, on a good run. Now Randy Pemberton is standing by with Hermie Sadler.
Well, we were talking just a moment ago as Hermie and I were standing there. He said, Phil gave me a break because 2 tires, 4 tires, you're able to hold them off. Great run for you. This team needed it so badly. Yourself, you've been under the weather for several weeks. Congratulations on a fine effort, but I know you would have loved to have gone to victory lane today.
Yeah, this is definitely not what we want, Randy, but it'll have to do for now, I guess. We had a great call. We've had a great call a lot of times this year, and, I'm back to 100% now. I went through a tough time there, but these guys have stuck with me, DeWalt, Peebles, Sitco, Chevrolet, Goodyear. I mean, these guys have kept faith in us when nobody else did, and I knew we can do it, and I know we can still win a race before this year's over, and if today's any indication, we're on the way back, and that's a good feeling for me.
2 tires, 4 tires. You probably thought you were going to get the 25 there when we restarted that race.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I mean, we figured, 10 laps to go, 2 tires, as many laps as we had on those tires, we thought we'd drive right by the 25, but congratulations to those guys. They made a gutsy call, and it paid off for them, and and Phil was right there at the end with 4 tires battling, but we had a great race, good side-by-side, hard racing, and that's tough here to do at Dover and not get into each other, so all these guys did a great job.
I'd like to put this team together and go for a championship. That could come maybe next year, 1996. I hear your brother's going for a title.
Yeah, we're going to come see Elliott tonight. Good luck. He's racing at South Boston tonight, and I think if he finishes 18th or better, he wins the track championship there, so we're going to go root him on tonight, but this is a step in the right direction for us, and we'll be back.
Okay, congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
Boy, looks pretty healthy. Second place will do that. Immediately following today's telecast, stay tuned for NHRA Today, live from Reading, Pennsylvania. That's right here on TNN, the Nashville Network. Don't miss all the NHRA action coming to you live right after our telecast here at Dover Downs. We'll be back with more from the Monster Mile. Another look at what happened here today in the MBNA 200, and perhaps a look ahead to tomorrow's Winston Cup race after this.
Today's exclusive coverage of the MBNA 200 on TNN is brought to you by Pep Boys Automotive Supercenter.
Looking down at the Winston Cup garage, happy hour is about to begin, and in Winston Cup terms, that means final hour of practice to get set for tomorrow's MBNA 500, which you'll see live here on the Nashville Network. Terry Labonte, you just saw his Kellogg's car. He'll make his 500th consecutive Winston Cup start, on his way to becoming the Cal Ripken Jr. of Winston Cup racing, and eclipsing a record set by Richard Petty at 513. There's the pole sitter, Rick Mast, for tomorrow's race. Busch Series drivers now in Winston Cup. Some of them you just saw. and have springboarded their success in the Busch Series to a Winston Cup career. There's 3 former champions, Bobby Labonte, Joe Nemechek, and Steve Grissom. Robert Presley took 10 Busch victories into Winston Cup racing. Rick Mast won 9 times on this circuit. Todd Bodine got his first win here at Dover and won 6 more. The Burton brothers, Jeff and Ward, each won 4 times, as did Ricky Craven. And Jeff Gordon put together 3 Busch Series wins and a lot of upfront runs before he went Winston Cup racing. So truly, buddy, this is the series that is the springboard to Winston Cup.
Well, this is the feeder station for Winston Cup racing. There's no doubt about it. And you could watch today. I mean, this makes race car drivers, gets them ready. Everybody's here to see them run. And when the Winston Cup ride comes open, they say, hey, listen, this guy really runs well. Let's take him and give him a try.
Well, the next name on that list is likely to be the man who's with Glenn Jarrett right now.
And that man is Johnny Benson. Of course, Johnny, we're talking about the guys that have springboarded from the Busch Grand National Series into the Winston Cup Series. You've already made the statement that you're going there next year. Let's talk for just a minute about today. You finished 11th. You certainly didn't have an 11th place race car.
No, we sure didn't. You know, Base Motorsports team's doing a great job, and we just got caught on the gas mileage and the pit strategy. I mean, that was all. Not a whole lot we can do about that, but we ran good. I mean, Lipton Team Monte Carlo was fast, and we just didn't end up where the car was capable of running.
We noticed one time there when Craven caught you on the racetrack when you led after you led for so much of the race and Craven caught you. Didn't look like you really raced him that hard at that time. Just wasn't really the right time for that.
No, it wasn't. Behind cars, we got a little bit too tight, and we were going to loosen it up that next stop. It just didn't happen the way we wanted. But I tell you what, you know, it was running good, and we just got that lap down, and then not sure the deal at the end. We were, you know, it's supposed to be double file, and it was 11 laps to go, and I guess we wanted to change it and go single file. So then they put us to the back. So we had some cars we had to pass. But like I say, I mean, all in all, made it through today. I mean, we showed that we could run up front. I believe we should have finished up front, but we didn't.
Well, you did. You know, there is some good news to the side of the thing. You did add 9 points to your lead over Chad. He had some problems also, finishing 14th, 3 spots behind you. And I know that with the few races remaining, that title's got to be the foremost thing in your mind.
Yeah, it sure is, you know, but it still would have been great to finish up front, you know. It don't matter if we finish, you know, ahead of Chad or whatever, but it's been nice to get another top 5. It just didn't happen. But we're still pretty happy. I mean, car's still in one piece. We're going to take it to Charlotte and see how it runs there.
Well, I imagine it'll run pretty well. This guy's one of the coolest, calmest customers out there, and you can believe it, folks. When he does get to the Winston Cup side, you'll see him running up front there also. Let's go to Randy.
Well, Chad Little didn't have the best of efforts today, but he probably can't wait to get to Charlotte as well. Tough break for you. Just didn't have it all together today.
Yeah, but you know what's important is I kept a couple streaks going. I hit the wall again, which that makes like 3 races in a row, but that happened yesterday in practice. I mean, we just can't get a break here lately. We got caught up in some bad sequence of pit stops, and our strategy was maybe off a little bit. The car never was quite perfect, but I really believe the Bear car was a top 10 car today. We just poor timing to pit. Caution comes out right after you pit, that type of deal. But you know, we've had I think we've had a great year. We've learned a lot. We learned a lot this weekend. That's what's important. We tried some things on the chassis late yesterday, and they worked, and I think that'll help when we come here again. So it'll also help for any bank track that we go to. So that's what's important. We learned something, and well, we can go on to Charlotte and maybe get this orangutan, not a monkey, off our back.
Okay, tough break today. Better luck next time, Chad.
Thank you.
Okay, back upstairs.
Thanks, Randy. Winston Cup racing here tomorrow live on TNN. The MBNA 500. Happy hour practice set to begin just as soon as Victory Lane is finished up and they get the crossover traffic cleared here. So we'll be back with a little more from Dover Downs as Johnny Rumley picks up a victory here at Dover, his first super speedway win.